So one of the ways the state has tried to engage in the digital space is through what's been called digital diplomacy. And here there's been a lot of cheerleading around the state getting on Twitter and ambassadors using Twitter. But I think there's actually a couple of different things going on. One is ambassadors being on Twitter and the U.S. Foreign policy, for example, using social media to engage with a wider audience. Really is just a continuation of the standard practice of public diplomacy, where the foreign policy isn't made, but is communicated. So public diplomacy has always used traditional media channels to put forward the perspective of America in the world. That's now changing when they try to engage on new media platforms using Twitter or Facebook or whatever it might be, or YouTube. But there's something else going on inside foreign policy departments and militaries, and that is a far more invasive form of digital diplomacy that isn't seeking to explain foreign policy, but is seeking to make it in the digital space. And much as the way the military views the cyberspace as a domain, so too does State Department. It's a place where they can do and make foreign policy. What we've seen, though, is that whenever the State Department tries to not just communicate foreign policy, but make foreign policy in the digital space, and to adopt the practices and methods of digital empowerment, they get into trouble. And they get into trouble because we expect the state to behave in a different way than the capabilities of online behavior allow, and the capabilities that give people power online. A great example of this is the USAID and State Department's program to build a clandestine version of Twitter in Cuba. So here's the State Department saying, we think free expression is a political mobilizing force in a regime we oppose. They don't allow U.S. social networks, so we're going to build a clandestine one in order to circumvent Cuban oppression. And of course, it got revealed. It's very difficult to keep things ultimately secret online. It was revealed, and it was ultimately incredibly damaging to U.S. foreign policy. So here's a case where the government tried to engage actively and invasively using the capabilities of online power, or disruptive power, and it backfired. And I think we're going to see more and more of this as the state moves into creating foreign policy online.